It's a bit like a war zone, isn't it? So I'm just off out with the dog. And the dog's not too bothered, because after all, she is half a gun dog. And I did take her up the farm and the range, get her used to things like this. So if anything, she wants to run towards the bangs. But the main subject of this video is getting to know your camera. And I have discovered that I don't really know the full capabilities of my cameras. And I largely run them on automatic, yet I'm just discovering that the manual settings in certain circumstances can give you a lot better image, because there is a lot to making a video, and it's not just the content but also it's the sound and the lighting, as well as the presentation, of course. Right, so I'm going to let the dog off the lead. Hopefully she'll be alright. Right, stay, Jess, stay. Alright, go and run around. Hey, hey! She's prone. Oh, she's actually excited. Right, I'll get back to you if there's anything more interesting. So she goes and runs towards the bangs. Jess, hey, just steady on. Right, we'll go and let the dog have a run around. I've just been fiddling with the sound and I've turned the gain up, but it had a low frequency cut-off at 75 Hertz or something like that, so it probably didn't get that tremendous wind noise. You got to fiddle to find these things out. Forward and reverse directivity of sound. Oh, I think the wind noise filter's in. Hang on. Oh no. Anyway, I'm just fiddling with the equipment. I've got it on because when you scan round and it's on automatic, you can either see the sky or the ground. You can't see both, so it flips from one to the other. Well, I've set it on. I've set it on manual, so it just has the set ISO and the set shutter speed. Let's see what that looks like. Well, I know what it'll look like. You'll see all the ground, but the sky will be overexposed. But watch this. Hang on. If I fiddle with the ISO and take it down, now you lose the ground but you get the sky. So that'll be the sensitivity to light, but surely the frame rate is exactly the same. We're on 250, 1/250th at the moment. So if I want it to be lighter, I should turn it down lower. 160, 100, 1/60th. Then it'll get jerky or grainy or whatever. We'll move it back down to 1/250th. So we've got the sky. We'll increase the ISO. That overexposes the sky and brings the dog in. So there's a lot to making videos that I haven't yet fully explored. probably hear a bit of wind noise behind me now. Probably done no favours fiddling with the sound. So I'll put it back onto auto, I think. This is the camera I'm mostly using to film with because it's the one that's mostly in my pocket and is easy to carry. And it's an LG V20. And if I go onto the camera setting, so there you can see the screen with the camera setting, and it's on manual at the moment. And there's a lot of things on here that I can change. So if I can get in a position where I can see what I'm doing, and we are losing the light, but along the bottom here on the manual settings I can set the audio. So I don't know whether you can see that on the screen, but that represents the sound from behind and the sound from in front, so I can have preferentially the sound from behind or the sound from in front. And also I've got some gain and low frequency cutoff and some limiters on the sound levels. Then I can set the effective background temperature, which means whether it gives it a yellowy or a bluey haze, so you can compensate for artificial light. I don't know what this EV setting is yet. I've got manual focus on it as well instead of automatic focus. I've got the ISO, which is the sensitivity to the light, and then I've got the shutter speed. I can also alter the shutter speed. So it's those settings that I'm experimenting with this camera. And of course when I complicate myself, I can just set it back to automatic and it'll sort everything out for me as best it thinks. But I'm finding out that that's not always the best for the filming. And if I learnt a little bit more about it, I could probably produce a bit better quality videos. So that's the camera I'm using, and that's the fiddling I'm doing. And I've also been experimenting with long shutter speed photographs, so I can photograph the sky and things that are going on in the sky. So I've had a go with the International Space Station. So I'll show you a photograph that I took. So I've been experimenting with the International Space Station, and a photograph I've taken just looks like a line in the sky because it was just about a 3.5 second exposure, handheld, so it's a little bit wobbly anyway, and then it just records the track as the International Space Station goes across the sky. And just to get me bearings, I also took a photograph of Ursa Major, or the Pan, the constellation that contains the pointers that point towards the North Star, which you can see in the northern hemisphere. So I could get orientated to find the International Space Station. So this is the photo of Ursa Major I took with the two pointers pointing towards the North Star, which is very good if you're in the northern hemisphere for finding north. And using that I could orientate myself and take a longish exposure of the International Space Station. So I was up early to photograph the International Space Station, but that was at 5 o'clock this morning. So it's now about, I don't know, 6:15 maybe. So it looks like I'm going to get to see a sunrise as well. You won't see the dog because the dog is black. I'll prove to you, you won't see the dog. Actually, you might see the dog. I don't know. Yeah, she's right up close now. Anyway, so in the International Space Station goes round the Earth, orbits the Earth once in every about 92, 94 minutes, something like that. So at 6:30, or just after 6:30, I may just catch it again, and I may this time catch it on camera. I don't know. That's the moon up there, waning. Like there's a slight scattering of cloud, so that's scattering the light. And also it's the first real frost we've had this morning. We've had little frosts, but this has been the first proper frost of this autumn. So I'm learning the camera. We'll see if I've got it on automatic. We'll see if I can get the International Space Station again. But this is the mobile phone camera, not the big camera, because what you find is it's very difficult filming what you're doing. It's hard enough doing it, and then to film it as well doubles the complexity and the time taken and everything. And it probably wouldn't be quite so bad if I knew my camera a little bit better, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just getting to know the camera settings and starting to go from automatic to manual. And this phone is the LG V20, I think, so it's quite an old phone, but it allows you to do manual settings on the camera and the video. Obviously at the end of the day you're limited to the lens size and the quality of the CCD, so you're never going to get what you could get on a DSLR or something, or a camcorder. But I doubt we rarely make the best of our cameras, or I certainly don't anyway. So I'm just learning about it now. Right, I've got a few more minutes. I've got to check the time with the phone. It'll be over at the ISS will be coming over at about 6:34, I think. And this time I'll get it much lower on the horizon, because previously when it was dark and I just took the photographs, for a lot of its orbit it was in the Earth's shadow, so it didn't come out of the Earth's shadow until it was right up high. It's going to be a lot dimmer on this pass because it'll be further away, so it's not going to have the brightness. So we'll just have to see. This is what the International Space Station would look like if you were actually up there. This was taken a few years ago from one of the space shuttles. Okay, well I can see it with my eye, but I don't think you can. There it is. That's the International Space Station again, moving across the sky. So that's the second time in one day I've seen the International Space Station. And there's currently, I think, 3 people up on there. I think 1 American and 2 Russians, but I'm not absolutely sure on that. There is another flight scheduled in this month, which will be the second flight to the International Space Station by the Americans in the SpaceX Falcon 9. I've lost it now. I can see it with my eye, but I can't see it on the camera. Let's get my bearings a bit. Okay, it is getting it's getting quite dim now, so, and it's moving towards the light as well, so I think that's it. I think we've lost it now. That's it there, centre screen. Just about lost it. So that shows you the limitations of this camera. But it's actually that was quite good. That I really didn't think I'd get it. And not being able to see Polaris, not having a compass with me, which is not very good, is it? But although I know where I'm going everywhere around here, but I did know where south was, more or less. I think the bright star, almost south but not quite, is Canis Major, so at the moment anyway. And of course we all know that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. But I got caught out once in Australia. I was navigating using a compass, but let's take the brightness down, take the brightness off this a bit. I was navigating by a compass, and I know that the sun moves 15 degrees through the sky every hour, so I was just thinking, oh, the sun's moved a bit, and I was using the sun as my marker, as my reference point, but I know it moves. But when you're in Australia, instead of moving from left to right, the sun moves from right to left, so I was going in the wrong direction. I soon figured it out, mind. But it's very strange when you come from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere and everything is different. The moon has a different orientation to it, and everything goes in the opposite direction, or appears to, because you stood on your head, of course. Upside down. Right, the dog is getting totally fed up, and it is freezing cold. There's another factor to take into consideration as well, and that is lenses. When I had my DSLR camera out in the back garden, the lens was misting over, so I ended up just doing everything on the mobile phone. So anyway, that's a bit of camera practice, and I think we're making some progress. So once I get the video editing software sorted out on the new computer, we'll definitely make some progress. But until then, my hands are freezing cold, so I'm putting this camera away.